So have you ever wondered, why is it so easy to scroll on social media, binge watch your favorite show for hours at a time, but it's so hard to stay disciplined on doing things that actually matter? I mean, you know what to do, you just don't do what you know. You may think it's a lack of motivation, you may think it's a lack of willpower, or you're just not that type of person. But what if I told you that discipline isn't built by willpower, it's not built by motivation, but it's built by identity? So in this video, we're going to discuss exactly how to become a disciplined person, how to make discipline a lifestyle through identity-based habits that you can stick with every single day. Have you ever said to yourself, I want to start making a change. I want to start getting in shape. I want to start eating better. I want to start investing my money. I want to start spending more time with my family. I want to start doing something that is going to improve your life. And then you start doing that, and then everything is good in the beginning. Right? You done cut the sugar, you're spending more time with your family, you're investing your money, you're being more productive with your time. You even see your money growing a little bit. Then out of nowhere, it just seems like, boom, you hit this wall of resistance. And now your energy starts to drop. Old patterns and habits start to come back. Cravings start to come back. Your schedule gets busy out of nowhere. You're met with inconvenience after inconvenience after inconvenience. This person needs this, that person needs that. You start going to the gym, then you get sick. And it's like, man, what is going on? I was just cool the past couple of weeks. Now all of a sudden it seems like all these things just piled up all at one time. And then you slowly start to slip back into your old patterns and habits. I used to think that was weakness. I used to think it was a lack of willpower. I used to think that I wasn't pushing hard enough. And that's one thing that I hate. I don't know about you, but I hate feeling weak. Right? Not physically weak, but I hate feeling weak to the point that I am controlled by things that I don't want. I am controlled by beliefs, ideas, mindsets, habits, behaviors, character. All of those things. I am controlled by things that I don't want. I am a cold turkey type of guy. So if I say that I want to do something, I want to be able to do it. And I used to think that was weakness. I used to think that I wasn't pushing hard enough. I used to think that I lacked willpower. But really, through many years of trial and error and many years of studying, I learned that there's a deeper principle at play here that says there's always a dip that trails the doing of something new. And what that means is every time you decide that you want to go after something, you are going to be met with some force of resistance, right? And it's what I call the dip. And the dip shows up as a distraction, a disruption, and a deterrent. A distraction is little small tasks that seem harmless in the moment, right? Seem like this small little thing. It takes your time and attention enough to throw your momentum off. I know I should be working on this, but let me answer this quick text message. I know I should be working on this, but let me answer this quick phone call. Let me send this quick email. I know I should be working on this. Let me Google this real quick. I've been meaning to buy this. Let me go ahead and buy this right now while it's on my mind. You should be focused on this one thing, but it took your time and attention enough to throw your momentum off. That's a distraction. A disruption is things that take you off course. You'll get back on course, but it's things that take you off course. Think about it like driving down the road. You're headed to work, right? You're either headed to work or you're headed to the store, and you expect to get there in 30 minutes. And then on your way to the store, there's a major accident, there's major construction that you have to take a detour. That's considered a disruption. It's like putting your money in the market, but now you got unexpected bills that pop up. It's like going to the gym and then you get sick. Those are disruptions. A deterrent is something that tries to completely take you off course. They try to stop you from going, right? They try to stop you from going after the goal that you're going after. This is like putting your money in the market and then you losing all your money. Starting a business and losing all of your money. Going to the gym and having a severe major injury. Right? These are things that try to stop you from going after the goal that you want. There's always a dip that trails the doing of something new. A dip is a distraction, a disruption, a deterrent. Now, why does a dip happen? Well, I'm glad you asked. A dip happens because every time you say you want to do something, every time you say you want to improve your life, You trigger a battle between two identities: who you are today and the person you need to become in order to get a result that you want. You trigger a battle between those two. Who you are today is your current mindset, your current habits, your beliefs, your ideas, your character, everything that makes up who you are today. Right? And the person that you need to become is the beliefs, the habits, the mindset, the character, everything that makes up who you need to become in order to get the result that you want. Because until you become the person that you need to become, you'll never get the result that you want. Right? So you trigger a battle between those two people, those two identities. And in the middle, that's where the dip is. That's where the tension is. That's where the conflict is. That's where the resistance is. Right? And this is something that many people aren't talking about and many people won't tell you, because your old patterns and habits are fighting to survive. And people underestimate how deceptively difficult it can be to go from one identity to a greater identity. Deceptively difficult. Because you're not just asking yourself to wake up earlier. You're not just asking yourself to eat better. You're not just asking yourself to start going to the gym more and investing your money and stop buying stupid stuff. You're asking yourself to become an entirely different person. And that takes more than willpower. That takes an entire mental shift. That takes a reprogramming of your mind. And it's also deceptively difficult because you aren't just battling yourself. You aren't just battling your mindset. You aren't just battling your actions and behaviors. You aren't just battling your beliefs. But you're battling the beliefs, the ideas, the thoughts of other people as well. When you decide to set a new standard, you challenge everybody else's standard. Right? So you're not just fighting the internal battle, but you're fighting the external battle as well. Because you're not only challenging yourself, you're challenging everybody else around you. And when you decide to make that change, because believe it or not, whether you like to think about it like this or not, people have this idea of who you are. And when you decide to make a change, you challenge that idea that they have of you. The beliefs that they have about you, the thoughts that they think about you. You challenge that, whether it's good or whether it's bad. For some people, it's good. Some people love it. And then there are a lot of people who don't, because a lot of people like to keep you in the box that they have placed you in. Because once you start to switch up, you're not only challenging yourself, you're challenging them to live at a higher standard as well. Think about it like work. And say if you work a sales job and you got to get X amount of deals closed, right? And you decide to, you know what, I'm going to start exceeding that. So they said I got to get 10 appointments booked within a week. Instead, I'm going to go for 15 or 20. And then let's say you start hitting that 15 or 20. You challenging the standards of everybody else that works with you, right? Let's say if they're comfortable with 10, they're comfortable with 10. They were the top dog. And now you come in changing that up. You're forcing them to go and to live and to work at a higher standard. So again, you're not just battling yourself, but you're battling external forces as well. Your identity doesn't care about progress when it comes to making a change. It doesn't care about what's going to improve your life, what's going to improve the quality of your life. It doesn't care about any of that. It cares about one thing. It cares about patterns. What you do and say in repetition becomes your life condition. Your identity cares about, what have we been doing this entire time? Why are we switching it up now? We took a long time to build this person and who we are today. I know this person you're talking about and this person you want to become, I know it sounds good, but to me it sounds too good to be true. So I'm going to stay over here. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's why you trigger a battle between those two forces. Your identity follows familiarity, because what is familiar to your identity equals safety. It doesn't matter if that familiarity is procrastination, laziness, self-sabotage. If that's what you've been doing, oh, it loves it. Every bit of it. Right? And it's going to fight you every step of the way from making that change because it sees everything else that is not what you haven't been doing. It sees everything else as a threat. So when you decide that you want to make a change, you trigger a battle between who you are today and the person that you need to become. Right? And the only way to get out of that is by shifting your identity. And you shift your identity by changing your thoughts, by changing your actions to create alignment. Because that's all that discipline is. Discipline is not about an action. It's not about a behavior, but it's a type of person that you become. It is the process of becoming who you need to become so you can do the things you need to do consistently. And this is where most people mess it up. This is where most people get it wrong. Because they think, I just got to wake up early. I just got to start going to the gym more. I just got to start doing this thing. I got to start doing this. I got to start doing that. I just need to push through more. But discipline is not about an action. Discipline is about an identity. It's about a transformation of an identity. Because here's the truth. Your behavior always follows your identity, not the other way around. Right? It's your identity that drives your behavior, which then produces your results. And that result then reinforces your identity and what you believe about yourself. Your identity will always prove itself right because your identity is what drives everything. So until you begin to shift your identity, you're just going to remain in the same spot. So if you believe that you're a person that is lazy, you believe that you're a person who procrastinates, you believe that you're a person who doesn't get things done, who's inconsistent, guess what? You're going to find a way to prove those things right. If you believe you're a person who can't win, and you believe you're a person who is a loser, guess what? You're going to find a way to be a loser. Every time. Your identity doesn't lose. Like Khaled said, it always wins. Right? But if you decide to change your identity through repetition, changing the thoughts, beliefs, ideas, mindsets you have about yourself, matching that up with action, you create alignment. And when you create that alignment, you create a force where discipline isn't something that you just have to try to do, but it becomes a part of you. Because now when you go to do something, you're not doing it out of force. You're not doing it to force your way through and push your way through it and will your way to it. But instead, you're acting in alignment with who you already are. Right? 99% of people are clean. Right? And let's say you're a clean person. You don't have to force yourself to brush your teeth. You don't have to force yourself to take a shower. You don't even think about it. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you wake up, you take your shower. It's that simple. You put on deodorant. You do all the things that clean people do. Why? You don't have to try to do it, but you're acting in alignment with who you are. Right? So when you change your thoughts, beliefs, ideas about yourself, you back it up with massive action to match those things, you create alignment. If any one of those falls or any one of those fails, let's say if you're changing the thoughts but not your actions, you're still going to fall back down to your old patterns and habits. If you're changing your actions but you're not changing your thoughts, you're still going to fall back down to your old patterns and habits because your identity will always prove itself right. And it only changes through repetition. It only changes through patterns. It doesn't care what's going to improve your life. It doesn't care if it's constructive or destructive. It doesn't care if it's empowering or disempowering, liberating or enslaving. It doesn't matter. All it cares about is what have we been repeating. So until you decide to shift your identity, things are going to stay the same. But once you decide to shift your identity, that's when everything changes. And discipline then becomes a lifestyle. So now let's talk about some practical things that you can do, right? That I feel are very simple and the most effective things that you can do because it's something that's within everybody's control to become more disciplined and to make discipline a part of who you are. First is going to be structuring your diet to adding structure. I'll say adding structure to your diet, right? Now, you can add whatever type of structure that you want, but forming some type of structure to your diet for clean eating. Food is one of the most emotional parts of our lives. We eat when we're bored, we eat when we're sad, we eat when we're happy, we eat when we're having fun. We just eat, right? Food is a habit that is built by culture and a reflection of our identity. People don't eat things because they like them, but we eat things because it's a habit. We eat things because we were trained to eat that way. Look, I'm from Maryland originally, live in Texas now. People in Maryland eat different from people in Texas. Maryland's heavy in seafood. Texas, heavy in barbecue. If you start traveling to different countries and continents, you'll see a different style of eating, right? Different cultures have eating. Culture drives the expectation for how we eat. Think about like growing up. You weren't picking and choosing like, nah, I'm not going to eat that because that's not healthy. Nah, I'm not going to eat that. I don't like that. Nah, that's not good for me. I'm not going to do that. Or I'm only going to eat these things on these days. I'm going to create some structure. You weren't doing that. Because number one, you were likely too young to know anything. Number two, you just ate what was given to you. You ate it. It didn't kill you. It didn't make you sick. So I'm going to keep eating it. Right? And your parents likely were emotional eaters, or whoever raised you were likely emotional eaters, especially here in America. And I can say that because still there are a lot of people that are fat, out of shape, and overweight. So whoever was raising you was likely eating emotionally, likely didn't have any structure to their eating. And then they just passed those things down to you, and you inherited those same beliefs, ideas, mindsets, and way of eating. And for many people, those things didn't change into adulthood. And you just kept doing the same thing, repeating the same pattern. Most people don't eat for fuel. They don't eat to fuel their body. But most people eat for a feeling because they want to feel something. If you're happy, you want to be more happy, so you eat. If you're sad, you want to stop being sad, so you eat. If you're stressed, you want to stop being stressed, so you eat. If you're bored, you want to stop being bored, so you eat. Right? Most people don't eat to fuel their body. They eat to fuel a feeling that they want to have. This is why mastering your food choices is one of the purest forms of self-discipline. Because every time you say yes to your intentions and no to your impulses, you're building validation within yourself. You're teaching yourself and harnessing a certain standard. You're saying, I am this person. I am not controlled by my cravings, but instead I live a certain lifestyle and a certain standard. You are saying, I am in control, not my cravings. Look, we make dozens of food choices every single week. And by you creating a structured diet, guess what you have to do? It forces you to plan in advance. It forces you to delay gratification in a world of instant gratification. Because now, let's say if you only want to do pizza once a month on the weekends only. And let's say first weekend out of the month you have pizza. Second weekend out of the month, you're now craving pizza. Now you have to wait to the next month. So it forces you to delay gratification, right? Instead of getting that instant gratification just because you're craving, say, oh, I want pizza for whatever reason. It is also a daily opportunity for us to align our actions with our values, right? In other words, it's another way to build discipline. It's an opportunity that everybody has to build the ultimate level of self-discipline. Food is one of the biggest struggles that we have in our society, right? Most people eat emotionally. So if you can learn to control your impulses of food, you can learn to control the foods that you eat and add some type of structure, then that automatically creates evidence of discipline. And you automatically become a certain type of person, right, who is disciplined. So you want to create a food structure, or you want to create structure in your eating, right? Number two, is you want to make sure you exercise every day. Get in shape, honestly. Because exercise and working out, that is one of the very few habits that trains your mind, your body, and your emotions all at the same time. See, most people think that exercising and working out is just physical. But it's so much more than that. Because when you're working out, when you're exercising, you're not just training just your body. Yes, you're training your body. That's the obvious one. But you're also training yourself to push through resistance. You're also training yourself to hold yourself accountable. Because let's say if you want to do 10 reps and then at 6 it got hard and you stopped at 8. Are you going to rack it and then reset and then do those 2 reps that you owe yourself? Or are you going to say, that was hard, that was good enough, I got what I needed? So it allows you to hold yourself accountable. It trains you to stay focused even when it's hurt, even when it hurts, even when it's painful. It trains you to show up day after day when you don't feel like it, when you feel like you got better things to do, when things aren't easy, when you got just life stuff happening. It's training you to become a greater person of value, only if you see it that way, because there's many people that go to the gym that don't see it that way. So you have to be intentional about what you're doing. It helps you to manage your emotions under pressure. There are many different benefits other than just the physical of working out and training your body and getting in shape. Right? Everybody doesn't see it, but it is one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself. And it is the greatest self-discipline, self-development, self-improvement program on the face of this earth. Because so much of working out and getting results and just even going through the process of making it a lifestyle, so much of that is parallel to what it takes to be successful in life. All those things I just named. There are so many different parallels that is happening, right, when you're working out and when you're living life. So exercising is not just a workout, but it is a training ground for life. And the last thing is you just want to read and write every single day. You can't become a disciplined person with an undisciplined mind, right? Reading expands your mental capacity for how you think. We live in the walls of our own beliefs, ideas, capabilities, strengths, weaknesses. And when you read, it takes you outside of your head and puts you in somebody else's head and allows you to think about things that you otherwise would not have thought of. It allows you to see things from a different angle, see things from a different perspective, whether you agree with it or not. But it's taking you out of your head and puts you in somebody else's. It also allows you to rewire and reshape the stories that you tell yourself, because we're always telling ourselves a story, whether it's empowering, whether it's disempowering, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Everything we are telling ourselves a story about the situation. And reading helps you to develop a new story. It also helps you to build clarity and build focus towards a long-term vision, especially if you're reading the right stuff, right? And then writing helps you to get out your thoughts. Writing helps you to step outside of yourself and see things from a different perspective. Sometimes you may think that you know what you're saying. You may think that you know what you believe until you go to write it down. And then when you go to write it down, you can't find the words. It's like, what am I trying to say? Right? So it helps you to evolve into a greater person of value. It helps you to adopt new thoughts, beliefs, ideas, mindsets that will serve you into becoming a disciplined person. Right? Success is not always just about doing more, but success is about thinking differently. Because remember, it's our identity that causes us to get new results. If you want new results, you got to shift your identity, which means you have to shift your thinking, which also means you have to shift your actions. So it's not just about doing more. It's not just about changing your behavior, but it's about changing your thoughts, ideas, mindsets, while changing your actions and behaviors. Because that's going to create the alignment that you're looking for and help discipline to become a lifestyle. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share with somebody you feel might be able to benefit from this content. And I will catch y'all in the next video.